From the ranch to the rodeo, this is The Short Go.
Men for the gap. God just needs a few good men. Ezekiel 13:5. You have not gone up into the gaps to build a wall for the house of Israel to stand in battle on the day of the Lord. My Bible reads in regards to this that these men neither contributed prayer, example, nor advice that would turn Judah back to God. In my own few words, these men really were found spineless, leaderless, sinful. They were found in their own sin and reproducing nothing regarding to spiritual things. The emphasis, don't think that God isn't watching you and I today. Ezekiel 22:30, a little further down, says, So I sought for a man among them who would make a wall and stand in the gap before me on behalf of the land, that I should not destroy it. Here's the shame. The Lord says, but I found no one. You find in verse 31 that it begins to share that God was angry at sin. Have you ever been angry? Of course we have. Some of us get angry all the time, unfortunately, and there's times when anger is very useful, but there's often times when it's very useless. It's very uncontrolled and very non-productive, which is what most men get addicted to, is a non-productive anger. They use it for control. God was angry here, and he wasn't angry so much where he's seeing these individuals as useless and begins to tear away at those individuals that he's talking to. He's angry at sin. He's brokenhearted. He's hurt because he can find nobody. His own children were fully disobedient, self-centered brats who cared only about their satisfactions and their little circles. You know what I mean? Little circles. The little circle that you allow in. He was angry that no man was hearing the plea. Today there's somewhere around 7,951,000,000. That means close to 8 billion people. And the question is, how many are even concerned about what he sees as important? I'm going to ask that again. How many of these billions of people are concerned about what the Lord sees as important? I'm going to go through a 3-point series, if you will. If you call it that, I don't got enough time to go through them. So for gap, first letter G is in gap, godly. God is looking for a man who is willing, there's a key word, to be godly. Someone who is intentional towards him. This is what it means to be willing to be godly. Intentional. No accidental pleasing God. It's intentional. A man who is willing to please God rather than other men or himself. He's willing to do what it takes to please God. A man or an individual who is willing to sacrifice for the sake of Jesus. Find that God is never asking you or I to do more than he was willing to do for us. He's offered himself. He's offered so much that we could give really so little. The question lies, are you even willing to allow this impossible word godly? Are you even willing to allow him to set you apart for his purpose? Are you willing to allow him to know that you are given to him, that you are surrendered? Are you a willing vessel for his kingdom building? Will you? Will I am willing to be a man for the gap and strive to be godly in this godless generation. I realize up to date God is always looking, always speaking. The question is, will he find you? And will he find me to be faithful?